What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new Nothing But Thieves album, Broken Machine. So Nothing But Thieves is back already. Pretty quick turnaround with the second album, Broken Machine. First one came out in late 2015, over in the UK. Finally dropped in the US in early 2016. I actually got to see the band the day the album came out in New York. I was very new to them. A friend turned me on to them. I had listened to the album real quick before going, and it was a fantastic show. It didn't even matter that I only really kind of knew some of the singles. The singer, Connor Mason, is unbelievable. One of the best rock singers out there right now, in my opinion. Overall, that first album was one of my favorites of last year, or 2015, however you want to consider the release date there. So I was pretty excited for this album, and it definitely does not disappoint. First couple tracks on here, you see the band really doubling down on their rock edge, which is cool. Something you don't always see with a sophomore album of a rock band. I feel like more often than not, just a rock band that's just beginning is going to go for a more commercial edge in the second album. While there is your fair share of commercial sounds in this album, just like in the previous album, they like to rock as well. And yeah, the first track on here, I Was Just a Kid, just, pummels you. It's so epic. It builds and builds and builds until this crazy chorus where, Connor's vocals are just soaring over top of it in a very melodic way. The guitars are just ripping through these awesome riffs in the chorus and throughout. And you also have like a nice tinge of keyboards going on here that they incorporate fairly well into the band. It's cool. The verses are kind of dreary and dreamlike almost before it kicks into that high-octane chorus. And that energy just continues with Amsterdam, the next song. This is the only one I had heard before the album came out. One that I liked right away because I really felt like I said, they were just doubling down on that rock energy from the first album in an even more grander way, even more epic scale. Connor's vocals, again, are just fantastic on this song, especially towards the end of the song where the music cuts out and he just sings that hook from the chorus. And it sounds like his voice is almost like about to crack, but then it just, finds its way again into the melody. So he goes, up into this almost scream, but then the melodic sense just stays there. And it's just really impressive to hear. Just a really great vocalist overall. There's also your fair share of ballady type songs on here. You have Sorry, Soda, Particles, Hell Yeah. I'd say probably out of all of these, Sorry is my least favorite. It's the third track on the album. Not that it's a bad song or anyway, I just think it's like your pretty standard kind of ballady, modern rock type song. The band doesn't do anything too interesting with this one. It does have a catchy hook to it in the chorus, but overall nothing that really stands out like some of the other ballads on here do, especially the song Particles, one of my favorites on the album, just because, the raw emotion in Connor's voice throughout. I like that the verses have this, nice bass-oriented groove to it, with guitars kind of sporadically placed throughout. The vocals here take on a sort of Radiohead vibe, which, is obviously a huge influence to this band. You hear that throughout the album, both albums that they've come out with at this point. And then the chorus hits and it's just huge. Everything is, firing at full force here. And personally, what I like about the song the most is the bridge. I find the vocal melody to just be really effective, very emotional, very powerful. And, the band is just, hitting everything. So does another good one as far as like the ballady type songs go. Strong Pixies vibe here. They're obviously influenced by the Pixies. They played a Pixies song, Where's My Mind, when I saw them. But it has those kind of Pixies tinged nuances to it. You hear the acoustic guitar in the background, but the guitars over top of it are, lightly laying out this melody. And, overall, once again, just a very catchy chorus to go along with it. These songs have a lot of great hooks to them, both the rockers and the ballads. Something that is really making this album stick in my mind very easily. Something the band is also doubling down on this album, not just in a rocking sense, but in a groove-oriented sense. And you hear that with the title track, Broken Machine. There's a dance-like beat, almost reggae-style bass going on. Very groovy, very danceable throughout the verses. That kind of beat keeps on in the chorus, but the energy gets pumped in. Connor's vocals take on another sort of energy there. I like the garagey sounding guitars in the chorus there. They're sort of juxtaposed to Connor's like radio sounding vocals here, and it's a cool effect, and I do enjoy it. The next song, Live Like Animals, totally threw me for a loop on the first listen. Nothing like we've heard from the first album at all. You have the vocals here are almost taking on like a rap throughout the verses. So I was a little like, I don't know about this. But then, the choruses start to come in, and it sounds like your typical Nothing But Thieves style, melodic, big energy choruses. And then this crazy, kind of dancey electronic section comes in. I think it's more so, it sounds like the guitar is playing the riff going on here, just, very synthesized. I was very surprised from it, but this song is so insanely hooky and catchy that I can't stop listening to it. The lyrics are pretty cool, very much talking about the state of, our society at this point in time, calling out a lot of problems with that, but, also indicating that the younger generations, it seems, are starting to speak out and become more active, either politically or socially or anything like that. This album does have its, low side for me, with, the songs Get Better and Hell Yeah. Not that they're bad songs, I wouldn't necessarily skip over them. I think, I like every other song so much on this album that these two kind of keep it from being a perfect album for me. Like I said, not that they're bad, it's just that I feel like both kind of themes and feels and vibes of both of these songs are done differently on this album and more effectively on this album. Get Better, not a bad song, but it has that kind of, slow, dancey kind of beat to it that I think the song Broken Machine just pulls off better. Broken Machine has more energy to it, a catchier hook in my mind. Same kind of thing with Hell Yeah. I think, it's a decent ballad, but it doesn't really go anywhere for me. It kind of just does the same thing throughout. I think it's good to kind of have a more acoustic-y song here. It kind of breaks up the album. It's definitely something, somewhat different. I just think the other slower songs on here, like Particles especially, just do a better job. So again, not that Get Better and Hell Yeah are bad. I don't think they're bad songs at all. I wouldn't skip over them. I would just listen to them in the course of the album. But, it's just kind of a low point. It kind of slows down the album for me. And I think I've talked about all the tracks, but two of my absolute favorites on here. One is on That Made by Design, which is just a huge rocker, huge sound to it, huge also lyrical content as well. Talking about, grand design and putting faith in a god and stuff like that, toppling a lot of these thematic topics. And I think the epicness, and the scale of the music fits the lyrical themes perfectly. There's a huge build-up throughout the verses, and then it just explodes into one of these great signature Nothing But Thieves style choruses. There's even this awesome kind of breakdown bridge section with this new guitar riff introduced, very heavy almost, lots of energy like I said. This might even be my favorite song on here, maybe that along with Particles. And finally, Afterlife. This is such a cool experimental type song for the band so far. Probably one of their more ambitious songs as far as, just introducing these different segues and different sections. Huge Radiohead vibes on this one as far as the groovy bass lines and these kind of sprawling building areas of the song. The song goes through very different moods throughout. It can go from a softer acoustic section to a more aggressive, middle bridge going on there before eventually going back down. Overall, one of my favorites on here, a great way to close the standard version of the album. The bonus tracks are worth checking out, actually. I have Apple Music, they have the bonus tracks on there. There's some pretty good rockers, the two bonus tracks. Especially song number 13 has a really cool classic rock kind of vibe to it. And there's an acoustic version of Sorry, piano version Particles, which I enjoy. So definitely worth checking out. The bonus stuff doesn't really factor into how I view the album, but I've been listening to them, and it's definitely worth checking out. Overall, I'm extremely pleased with this album. I feel like I've been on a string of really great albums lately. So it may seem that I just only say things are really great, but I guess it's just a really good time for music and stuff that I particularly enjoy. It's just the fact that there's a kind of low point in the album for me is what keeps it from being, perfect in my mind. I didn't think the first album had any kind of lower points. I thought all the songs stood up amongst each other equally. So I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5. Still a very strong rating. One of my favorites of the year for sure. So let me know what you think of the album, what your favorite songs are. And don't forget to check out some more reviews on the way. Recently, some good ones went up, I guess. They're good. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.